was just thinking that every time I disappear for a little bit, I always come back asking for forgiveness in the form of a book haul. Apparently, that's my love language. I'm not sure how every solution to the problem in my life is buying more books, but hey, I'm not the one complaining. Although I've been gone for a minute, I've still been reading, I've still been adding and collecting entirely too many books to my shelves. But today, we're fixing that. I have romance, I have literary fiction, I have family drama, and I have second chance stories. I even have books that seem like they're going to emotionally destroy me. In other words, my TBR is fighting for his life. And by the way, if you're new here, my name is Ronnie, and this is R&R the Serial Reader, where we talk all things books. Now, let's get into this haul before I buy anything else. Okay, let's start with the romance, because you all know that that's where most of my book budget goes. First book is Watercolors by Evelyn Latrice. I chose this book solely for the cover. In addition to that, if you guys remember me talking about a book that I read by Evelyn Latrice, which was the first book in the 8th Wonder series, To the Moon, believe it or not, that was the only book at the time that I had read by Evelyn Latrice. Lo and behold, I saw this book floating around. I was like, oh, let me get it, because the cover is beautiful, and on top of that, it was a new release as well. Even though this book is a part of my haul, it is a book that I read, and it follows a woman by the name of Lumi. So Lumi's life just completely fell apart. Everything from professional to personal, it just went down the drain. And so there was an opportunity for Lumi to start over. Start over meaning she was able to relocate to a home that she inherited. You would think that she would want to jump, like that would make her heart so happy and she would want to jump right into it. No, because the house that she inherits has memories that haunt her. And then we have Wave. Wave is, I'm not going to say what his profession is. I think that's a part of the allure of the book, is finding out what his profession is. But he has this profession that he's done all his life and he was successful at. He has a new journey now of living life as a retired professional. And he's ready for it, you know, he's happy for it, he's looking forward to it. But somehow something unexpected shows up that throws his whole game plan out of whack. So that's all I'm going to say about these two. I do have a wrap up that's coming, for a quarter 2 wrap up that's coming. So I'll save my full thoughts and reviews about this book for that video. So if you want to hear more, just stay tuned for that wrap up. But I will say this book, in my opinion, is perfection. This story really stood out. I really hate to use this term because I feel like it's overused, but I feel like this story was chef's kiss. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful story. So because of that, the next book is from Evelyn Latrice. I picked up Tangled Hearts. Based on the back, it says, some love heals, some love breathes, and some love tangles so tightly you can't tell where one heart ends and the other begins. Here are some reviews that, convinced me on top of the back that this is a book that I wanted to read. Chiquita Melvin says, yes, Evelyn Latrice, so good. This person, Hewlett, says, Tangled Hearts was captivating from start to finish. Kendria Juice, she said this, man, this was amazing. This was so good. I found myself slowing down halfway to savor the read. That's exactly how I felt when I was reading Watercolors. Like, I had to force myself to stop reading Watercolors. Sometimes that's scary for me to do, because if I stop reading a book, I may lose interest and may not want to pick it back up. This was not the case with Watercolors, so I know exactly what they mean when they're talking about Tangled Hearts. So that just shows that Evelyn, her writing is exceptional like this in most of her books. The next book is The Garden of Eden by Millie Belazar. Millie is famous for her fast book. What made me decide to go and purchase this book is because Millie came on Instagram and she posted a book with a beautiful cover, and I was like, oh my god, is this book being released? Is this a new release? I don't know when it's going to be released, but it was a beautiful cover. It had a cover of a young woman who has vitiligo, and I'll post a picture of that cover. But it just made me remember that I didn't really dig into Millie's catalog how I wanted to, so I wound up going back looking through Amazon, and I found this book. Eden is an R&B superstar who has lost her passion for music. Andrew is a pastor who doesn't believe in God. Like, how is that? I'm sold. Yeah, this premise definitely has my attention. All right, so this next book, I happen to be scrolling on Amazon. Do you guys do that? Do you window shop on Amazon? Because I certainly do window shop on Amazon. I mean, I love it. It helps. Window shopping helps me not to spend all my money. I know 50 Cent got use a window shopper. I mean, I know people look down on that, but I love it. So anyway, I was window shopping on Amazon and I came across this book. And it is 402, actually Apartment 402 by Nadine Fry. This book is a part of a series, and it's called the Hallway series. And so you have other authors who have come together to write books under the title of this series. This book follows characters by the name of Precious and Defiance. And it seems like Apartment 402 is an escape for both these people. They're new to the apartment building. Their pasts are very heavy and it's emotional. And not somehow, but at some point, they connect. Most likely, the past will probably try to creep in and create some disturbance amongst them. This next one was an highly anticipated read for me. I was anxiously waiting for this book to drop. You guys have heard me talk about book 1 and how good it was. So it should be no surprise that I have already read this book, and it is Go To by Sarah Feeney. Yes, she dropped it. Kiona from Chocolate Covered Pages, she hit me up in my DMs and she was like, we up. And I was like, word, we up. So immediately I went, purchased the book, got the book, read the book. And so with book 2, you're gonna get heartbreak. You're gonna get complicated emotions. When I say there's personal growth, let's just save that for quarter 2 in my wrap up, and we'll see if there is any personal growth from any of these characters, especially with Gold, because Gold is a young woman. She just turned, I think she turned 21 in this book. So everything else was 19, 20, right? And so a lot of the decisions that she probably made in book 1 probably weren't so good being a young woman. And so now that she's 21, has she learned any lessons? Has she made any growth? That's what this book is going to be all about. I'm just going to leave it right there. So this next one is book 2 from The Point of It All series by Christina C. Jones, CCJ. I talked about book 1 for being one of my favorite tropes because it's a small town romance. So evidently this is also rooted in a small town romance. There's not much on the back. CCJ kept it simple, small, and vague. If you read book 1, then you know that book 2 is going to be about Luke, who is best friends with the MMC, and Eva. And so I get the sense that this book is going to talk about grief, how to deal with it, how to talk about illnesses, and how to move forward. More so, I just love CCJ's writing. You know that she is going to create these emotionally rich characters, and I'm sure I'm going to be feeling all the feels reading this story. All right, so this next one is by an author. She's not new to me, but I have not had an opportunity to read any of her books yet. The book that I picked up, which is also a recent release, is When Pages Meet Pixels by J.D. Southwell. The interesting thing about J.D.'s work is that she is published under L. Kaysen. L. Kaysen has a publishing company called LKG Presents. She also published the Camille V book that I read in Q1. I forget the name of that book right now. I picked up this book because the cover was so cute. It is absolutely the cutest cover that I've ever seen. And so in this book we have Natalie Hunter, who gets caught up in this fake engagement scenario. And then we have Dexter. His dream is to create video games and do gaming software, but apparently that's a problem for his family. They have an idea of what they want him to do, and so I think he's struggling with that. Somehow, some way, these two get connected, but Natalie is forbidden for Dexter. So yeah, I mean, definitely this book sounds fun and modern. It's completely different from the other books in this haul. This next book, I have a love-hate relationship with getting this book. This book wasn't so easy for me to get because of the way that the author has their system set up for purchasing their books. They only have their ebooks on Amazon. If you actually want the physical copies from this author, you have to go to her website. I've read quite few of her books in the beginning of my reading journey. I knew it was time for me to spin the block on her again. My girls from Sipped and Read, Nikki and Sarita, were heavily bigging up this read that I actually picked up. But I felt like it was a book that I don't want to read through ebook. I wanted to actually hold the physical copy in my hand. Sometimes you just want the sensory experience to go along with the reading. So like I was saying, I went to this author's website November of last year that I ordered the book. I got the book in March of this year. I kid you not. Breaking the Rules by Aubrey Penn. Yeah, and then on top of that, it's a beautiful. Do you see why I wanted the book, the actual physical copy? It's so gorgeous. On top of me receiving the book months later, when I opened the package, it had this like strong perfume smell, and I was like, what? What the hell is going on? At any rate, so you have a woman by the name of Savani who gets into this one night agreement with a man named Noble. On top of it being a one night agreement, it's supposed to be a one night agreement with no strings attached. Sounds simple enough, but in my experience, it never is. It's never that simple. I'm sure we're gonna get two people who have so much chemistry, so much passion for one another that it's just gonna create emotional complications and probably a whole bunch of drama. The next one is A Complete Mess by Ty. This one features a love triangle with a complicated marriage. It's so funny because I remember at one point I could not stand a love triangle, and since they have definitely grown on me. It's also about an Olympic athlete and an NFL superstar. So it's a sport romance. Honestly, the title seems fitting. The moment that I saw the premise, I was like, yep, somebody's life is definitely going to be a complete mess. These next two books are from the same series but by different authors, and those books are from the Whip and Fade series. I really did enjoy book one. They were all a part of this Black community that I just found so fascinating. They were very intentional in making sure that this community existed. They continued to build this community up, and that Black people would definitely be able to be here and thrive. And so now we have the two additional books who are more so about the the males in this community. And so within Whip and Fade, Whip is the beauty salon part of it, and Fade is the barbershop part of it. And so we have Blacc by Bailey West. On the book it says, control built his life, love changed the blueprint, fatherhood, forgiveness, and accountability. Ooh, I didn't see his eyes. His eyes are gorgeous, and he has freckles. Ooh, this is a fine man. I mean, his head is kind of big. And so the next book that's in this series is Hollis by Marley Ray. And then on Hollis's, it says, not new, just newly aware, seasoned, intentional, unapologetic, best friends, same history, new fire. Obviously, this is a best friends to lovers romance. Now, let's move to the books that seem like they're going to bring all the drama. This one is also one that I have already read. It is a popular series. I've heard all the girls talk about it. Came across this book and I was like, okay, this is going to be the push to get me started with the series, and that is Treacherous 3 by Natisha Rayner. So you might be saying, if you are familiar with this series, why does this book look like that? It's because it's the special edition. The special edition combines the first 3 books from the series, which is Carried Away, Treacherous Twins Justice, and Treacherous Twins Loyal. Again, because I read it, I'm not going to give you too much of my thoughts about it. That will come in my quarter 2 wrap up. I will say this, of course, there were definitely moments in this book where I felt like I was watching a Maury a Maury episode.
Eric, you are not the father. In the case of 2-year-old Darian, Eric, you are the father.
The drama, the secrets, the revelations, woo! It was a doozer. This next book was gifted to me by the author. Her name is Stephanie Akon, and the book is Everything Comes with a Price. She reached out to me and she said, hey, I have a book. She asked me if I would be interested in reading an urban realism book. First thought was like, urban realism? What is that? So of course I had to go to Google and look it up to see what it meant. And basically it's another way of saying urban fiction, street lit reads. Once I saw that, I was like, hell yeah. I'm interested. So this one is about a young girl by the name of Evelyn. She has an obsession. She is obsessed with this man that she wants, and she's willing to do almost anything to make it happen. Yeah. My type of read. I love an obsessive woman. There are no lines that they will not cross. It sort of also feels like it has like this suspense to it, because not only is she willing to do whatever it takes to get the man she wants, what she doesn't realize is that the people that are around him have secrets, and so that means that there's danger lurking for the both of them.
Molly, you in danger, girl.
This definitely sounds like a book that I'm going to be flipping through the pages fast as possible. These next 2 books are a part of a series. It's actually a duet by the author Chantel Davis. The series is called What Was Ours. Book 1 is All That Isn't Mine. I actually started reading. I haven't finished yet. So far, what I've gathered, it is about Alara Vance and Julian. The romance isn't ideal because Alara is also a woman who's in an arranged marriage. She feels indebted to her husband's family. Alara is a badass, right? And when I say a badass, meaning she runs her husband's family's company. But there is no love whatsoever between her and her husband. And so he does what he does, and she does what she does, and that is with Julian. Julian is in his 20s, so it does have an age gap romance. The other part is that not only is it an age gap and forbidden love and all that stuff, just because Julian is young doesn't mean that he's laying down and taking crap from anybody. He's a rebellious lover, and so he's not making things easy for her. I can't wait to get back into it and finish this one up. And then the second book is All That Was Stolen. And if I failed to mention before, Chantel also writes most that I've read so far are multicultural, interracial romances. But this one is interesting as well because it seems that we have a FMC by the name of Chloe who has been trapped in an attic or locked in an attic for all this time. What the hell? What do we have? Flowers in the garden or a garden in the flowers? You guys remember that when the mother had the kids up in the goddamn attic? What was that? Flowers in the attic?
Corey had pneumonia. The doctors did all they could. There won't be a funeral. He's already been buried.
She had the kids in the attic all them years. She lied to them. That's basically what happened to Chloe. Like, she's been lied to, trapped in a attic. Find out more about Killian and Chloe and what? Is there a book 3? There's a book 3! Guys, so this ends on a cliffhanger! I'm really more excited. Like, I complain about cliffhangers, but cliffhangers are the shit. It keeps you invested, right? So anyway, that's that book. A Sky Full of Love by Lorna Lewis. The reason why I decided to put this on for a book haul is because the premise of this book is about a woman who returns home 15 years after being kidnapped. I want to do a special thing where I read books with the similar premise and see which one did it better. When She Returned by Lucinda Berry. Yes, that's it. When I read this, that book came to mind. But of course, you know, the drama is going to be that, you know, coming back after being gone for so many years and you had left behind a family. Where are they now? You had a husband, you had a child. I'm sure her child is, if not close to being an adult, a child that she doesn't know his or her likes and dislikes and all those things, and what has the husband been doing since then. This next book is a oldie but goodie, and it is Perfect Peace by Daniel Blacc. It's a historical fiction. My first book and only book that I've read by Daniel Blacc was Don't Cry for Me, which actually I cried my goddamn eyes out. I can imagine that this might do something similar to me. This novel definitely explores family and identity because it does have the LGBTQ plus representation in there. I'm not going to read the back because I feel like it will reveal a lie and I don't want to do that. So just know that everything isn't as it appears. There are questionable parents in this book, and so I feel like this is going to be a heavy read. This one is definitely one of the most unique books in my haul that I've picked up. This one was a highly anticipated new release, and this book is by an author that, one, he's well known, but I have yet to read any of his books, and so I've been wanting to do that. And sometimes, instead of going back to the beginning of their catalog, I like to start with their most recent, which is Ghalen, A Romance in Black by Walter Mosley. This follows Galen's love story, but it also gives us his parents' story because it helps shape who Ghalen is. Apparently. That's the idea that I'm getting. I'll probably do this through audio because I'm not familiar with his work. I don't know if it's gonna jive with me, so I'm definitely going to do the audible along with physical copy. I'll do it immersive style. But Walter Mosley is just one of those authors. He doesn't need an introduction. His name rings throughout the literary world and he knows how to get your attention. Now let's get into the books that are probably going to keep me awake at night. The first one is We Don't Talk About Carol by Kristen L. Berry. I'm always down to read books about our culture. I find it interesting when our culture is represented in mysteries and thrillers and suspenses, just like the Tamron Hall book that I read. Not only is Black and brown girls themed out through the book, but also investigative journalism has the same foundation of where Black girls go missing, and it takes a journalist's discovery to dig a little bit deeper. In the 1960s, 6 Black girls from the same North Carolina neighborhood went missing, and only one of them was made a ghost. This next one was also released last year, and I was kind of on the fence of if I wanted to read it, right? But sometimes FOMO happens, and I saw a lot of different people talk about it, and the book is Love You to Death by Christina Dotson. It does give off that it has some type of suspense, but more so there are 2 women who go around crashing weddings. So they're wedding crashers. And not only are they wedding crashers, but they steal gifts. Then they become murder suspects. This next book is a historical fiction, and it was wrapped in some fantasy as well. The title sounded interesting as well, and it is The Wondrous Life and Loves of Nella Carter, and I don't want to butcher her name, but I probably will, by Brioni Naswu. The premise to this book was very, very interesting. It's about a woman by the name of Nella who bargains with death. It's the 18th century. She's on her deathbed, right? And death obviously comes to her, but she bargains with him not for herself, but for mankind. Death takes her up on her offer, and so she lives. And so she gets to live this wondrous life, centuries, trying to prove to death the human race is worth it. The title is very self-explanatory. You do get to explore the life that she lives all this time and all the loves that she experienced, and I won't tell you whether she succeeds in proving that humankind or the human race is worth it. If you're interested in this, pick it up and read it and see for yourself. I feel like so far I haven't read a lot of historical fictions. I only maybe read that one I just showed you, The Wondrous Loves and Life of Nella Carter. I read Burn Down Master's House. I think that was the only 2 maybe that I can remember. So this next one definitely was put onto the list because I wanted to read a historical fiction, and that is A Harlem Wedding by Tiffany L. Warren. Tiffany is popular for her book from last year, which is The Unexpected Diva. Listen, W.E.B. Du Bois. It seems that he was not just legendary for his writing and for his education. He was infamous. If you read Harlem Rhapsody, then you know what I'm talking about. And now we get him again through his daughter. Apparently his daughter, Yolande Du Bois, she has expectations. Her family has expectations, I should say, for her, and they expect her to marry a certain man. But you should know the daughter of W.E.B. Du Bois is going to accept an arranged marriage. I don't think so. She's not going to fall to societal pressures. She's going to push back, evidently. She's going to push back, and that's going to cause some drama, and we are here to see what's going to happen and who she's going to marry. This is what it's all about, Black excellence, right? I think this is going to be a fascinating look into one of the most significant periods in our time, which is the Harlem Renaissance. Black history, definitely one for the lovers of historical reads. This is the last one. I actually don't have the physical copies with me because it has not arrived yet, and it is the Prototype series by Jacinta Howard. I blame the Tipsy sisters. I blame Nikki and Sarita for this, my obsession with this series, because they made it sound so good. And I was like, oh my goodness, I have to get my hands on it. In addition to this, they showed the physical copies that they had, and that's where my obsession heightened. Okay? They had the most beautiful covers of this series that I quickly went to Amazon and saw that I didn't see that cover. I didn't see that cover. So then I was like, okay, let me go to her website. And I didn't see any of the covers. Now I'm in my plotting and planning phase. Like, I want to read it. It's a new adult college romance. I found covers. I found the series, but it was not of the covers that I wanted, and it was of something else. And I was like, you know what? I like these. I'll take these. If I can't have the special edition covers, I'll take these. These are the covers that I got, and I found them on eBay. You guys know that I love a college romance, a HBCU, and so this holds it. You know, we're gonna get college life, we're gonna get music, friendship, chemistry, romance, all of that stuff. I feel like it's gonna be one of those series that keep pulling you. Each book is gonna keep pulling you, and you're gonna want to read about the different couples. So each book is about a different couple. And that's it from this book haul. As you can see, my shelves are thriving and my TBR is completely out of control, and I have learned absolutely nothing from the previous book hauls. If you enjoyed today's video, make sure to give it a thumbs up. It really helps my channel reach more readers. Plus, if you're not subscribed, I would really love for you to join the Serial Readers family. Before you go, drop a book stack emoji in the comments if you made it all the way to the end of this haul. I always love to see who stayed with me from the beginning to the end. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye guys.